We all know AI can write code, analyze data, and even create some pretty amazing art. But can an AI have a culture? It's a weird question, I know, but it gets right to the heart of how these incredibly powerful systems are being built.
It sounds a little like science fiction, right? But some fascinating new research suggests that when we try to make an AI safe, we might also be accidentally giving it a surprisingly specific and very human set of cultural values. And to understand how that's even possible, we need to take a look inside one of today's most advanced AI models.
Okay, so first things first, let's meet our subject for this deep dive. Section 1, meet Claude. Now, you might have heard of Claude. It's an AI assistant, kind of like ChatGPT or Gemini. It's built by a company called Anthropic. But here's the thing. Anthropic's mission is a little different from the others. They put AI safety at the absolute center of everything they do. And that focus on safety, well, that's the key to this whole story. But before we get into the wild stuff, what can you actually do with Claude? Well, it's a real workhorse. It can chat with you, analyze data from spreadsheets, help you code, build apps, and summarize huge documents. It's a super versatile tool. But it's how it thinks that makes it so fascinating. Section 2, inside Claude's working memory. To really get what makes Claude tick, we kind of have to peek inside its brain, or, what passes for a brain. It all comes down to this thing called the context window, which is basically the AI's short-term memory.
Now, this is super important. The context window isn't that giant library of everything the AI learned from the internet. Nope. It's just its active working memory for the conversation you're having right now. It's all your questions and all its answers that it can see in that moment.
And think about it like this. Every time you chat, that memory gets bigger and bigger. You send a message, Claude replies, and then your next message bundles up that whole history and sends it back. It's pretty simple, but it's how the AI actually remembers what you were talking about just a second ago.
But here's where Claude does something really clever with that memory. Sometimes, to figure out a tough problem, it writes out its own little thinking steps internally. But then, and this is the cool part, it automatically removes that thinking from its own memory to save space. It literally cleans up after itself, which is just incredibly efficient.
Section 3, Claude's constitutional AI. Okay, so memory management is cool and all, but this is where things get truly mind-bending. Because Claude isn't just guided by data, it's guided by a constitution.
Yeah, you heard that right, a constitution. Instead of just learning from human feedback, Claude is aligned using a written set of principles, a rule book, basically, that tells it how to behave. As the research paper puts it, these are explicit commitments, written in plain English that guide the model. And this is so cool, you can see exactly how it works. They take a big, fuzzy value like tolerance and turn it into a direct command. Choose the response that is least discriminatory. Or a value around gender and family becomes choose the response that most supports equality. The AI is literally trained to follow these rules, period.
Section 4, does this AI have culture?
Okay, which brings us right back to that big question we started with. If you give an AI a rule book written by humans, what else are you giving it?
And that's the exact question researchers wanted to answer. Does this constitution, which was designed to make the AI safe and helpful, also accidentally bake in the specific cultural worldview of the people who wrote it?
So how do you even test for something like that? Well, they got clever. They took 55 questions from the World Values Survey. These are questions specifically designed to uncover cultural differences on hot-button topics like family, politics, religion, you name it. They asked Claude all 55 questions, and the results were not what anyone expected.
Section 5, a weird value profile. What they found was, wow, Claude isn't some neutral global citizen, not even close. Its answers line up perfectly with what social scientists call a weird profile. That's Western, educated, industrialized, rich, and democratic. I mean, just look at this map from the study. This is wild. Every single one of those colored dots is a country, and they're all grouped into different cultural clusters. And then you see that little black box way out on the edge by itself? That's Claude. It's not just in a cultural group, it's a complete outlier. And if that map wasn't clear enough, check out this chart. This ranks every country based on how similar its values are to Claude's. And you can see a very clear pattern right at the top. It's basically a who's who of Northern European and English-speaking countries.
So its values are a near-perfect match for places like Germany, the Netherlands, and New Zealand. But here's the kicker. The United States, where this tech was actually developed, only comes in at number 14. So its values aren't just American, they're a very specific slice of the Western world.
And on the other end, it's least similar to countries like Pakistan, Libya, and Myanmar.
But that isn't even the most shocking part. The single most jaw-dropping finding from this entire study is this number.
That's because on a staggering 2/3 of these divisive cultural issues, Claude's opinion wasn't just like a certain culture. It was more extreme than any human country they surveyed. So on topics like individual rights or tolerance, it doesn't just lean one way. It goes to the absolute logical extreme, to a place no actual human society lives.
Section 6, the constitutional value floor. So what is going on here? Why is it so extreme? Well, the researchers have a great name for it, the constitutional value floor.
Think of it this way. The Constitution creates a value floor. There are certain rules, like be the least discriminatory, that are absolute. The AI is designed to follow them perfectly, every single time. This means its answers can never, ever drop below a certain minimum commitment to that principle, no matter what. And what this means in the real world is pretty staggering. It means Claude gives basically the exact same advice on tricky moral questions to someone in Sweden as it does to someone in Bangladesh, completely ignoring the vast differences in culture, law, and social norms. It has one playbook and it sticks to it, no matter what.
And all of this leaves us with a huge question for the future of AI. This study proves that having a constitution is a really powerful way to make AI safer. But it also proves that the culture you bake into that constitution has enormous consequences. So if one rulebook doesn't fit the entire world, who gets to write